Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really insightful plunge into a topic that's, well, it's been around forever, hasn't it? Fasting.
It really has. From ancient spiritual practices right up to today's health trends, it's everywhere.
Exactly. And it sparks so much curiosity, but also, let's be honest, a fair bit of confusion. Is it this miracle health hack? Or is it actually dangerous? Or maybe somewhere in between?
That's a great way to put it, because fasting, this intentional practice of not eating or drinking for a set time, it's deeply human, it's historical, spiritual, but also maybe a fundamental adaptation. And now it's having this huge resurgence in the health world. So today we're going to unpack it all. We'll look at everything from like short daily breaks to these longer, really structured programs, often done with doctors involved.
Yeah.
Our mission really is to cut through the noise. We want to give you, our listener, clear, evidence-based insights.
We want to demystify the science, help you figure out what's safe, what's risky, and basically help you understand if fasting could actually be a useful tool for your health journey.
And to do that, we've really synthesized a lot of information. We've looked at big studies, observational ones. We've pulled key points from medical articles, especially on safety stuff like refeeding syndrome, super important.
Oh, definitely.
And even looked at historical and religious texts. It lets us go way beyond just the headlines, get into the real nuances.
Okay, let's unpack this right from the start then. So fasting, it means different things to different people, right? For someone totally new to this, how would you define it broadly? And maybe just as important, what isn't a fast in this context?
That's a really good question because clarity is key here. So at its core, fasting is intentionally choosing not to eat and sometimes not to drink for a specific time.
Intentional is the key word there.
Exactly. It's a conscious choice. It's not just, accidentally skipping breakfast because you're running late. And its uses are incredibly diverse. People might do it for health, weight loss, maybe managing certain conditions.
Right.
But it's also huge in spiritual and religious traditions globally, or even just preparing for a medical test sometimes.
And within that big definition, there's a whole spectrum of ways to do it. It's definitely not one size fits all. Like on one end, you've got water-only fasting.
Yeah.
What's that usually involve? What's the immediate feel of that one?
Well, water-only fasting is pretty much what it sounds like. You consume nothing but water, pure water, for a set period, usually somewhere between 24 hours, maybe up to 72 hours.
Okay.
It's often seen as let's say, the purest form, the ultimate reset, maybe. But that purity comes with risks. Big ones, because you're cutting out all nutrients, including those vital electrolytes. It's powerful, yes, but needs real caution.
Okay, so that's one extreme. Then maybe more in the middle, or perhaps just more structured, there's periodic fasting. You mentioned the Bookkeeper method as an example earlier.
Okay.
How's that different, especially since it can go on for longer?
That's a really significant difference, yeah. The Bookkeeper method involves longer fasts, could be 4 days, could be up to 21 days, but and this is crucial, it allows a very small amount of calories, typically around 200, 250 calories a day.
Okay, so not zero.
Not zero. It usually comes from things like diluted fruit or vegetable juices, maybe some clear vegetable broth, sometimes a tiny bit of honey. The idea is to give you some essential nutrients and a bit of energy, but still keep you largely in that fasted state getting those benefits.
What really stands out about this method, though, is that it's almost always done under strict medical supervision. You mentioned a big study, over 1,400 people doing this Bookkeeper program for 4 to 21 days. That really highlights the structured approach, doesn't it? Can you paint a picture of what that daily supervision and program actually looks like?
Absolutely. It's really comprehensive, almost holistic, you could say. Participants get daily clinical monitoring. Nurses, specialized doctors checking in. They drink plenty of water, of course, and non-caloric herbal teas, plus those small caloric inputs we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about intake. The program includes a whole lifestyle piece. Things like light to moderate exercise, think outdoor walks, maybe some gentle group gymnastics. They also often use hydrotherapy, physiotherapy,
Wow.
and maybe surprisingly, they often use regular enemas or mild laxatives maybe every other day to help with intestinal cleansing. It's a whole package, medically guided, designed for safety and effectiveness.
That definitely sounds like a controlled environment. Okay, shifting gears a bit then.
Yeah.
What about intermittent fasting? or IF. This one seems like it's exploded in popularity lately. It generally sounds a bit more accessible, right?
It does, yeah, because IF usually means much shorter fasting windows. Typically, we're talking 16 hours, maybe up to 48 hours at the longer end for some protocols.
Like the 168 thing everyone talks about.
Exactly. The 168 method is a classic example. Fast for 16 hours, eat within an 8-hour window. It feels more manageable for daily life for many people. But it's worth noting, while IF is super widespread now, there's actually less long-term research on it compared to something like the established Buchinger method, though, the research is definitely catching up fast.
Now, beyond all these health and wellness uses, fasting has this incredibly deep religious and historical significance. It really spans thousands of years, countless cultures. It gives you this fascinating glimpse into how different belief systems approach self-discipline, spiritual connection.
It really does.
What's striking when you look across all these traditions isn't just the variety, but maybe this profound human impulse they reveal, like a universal drive for discipline, purification, understanding resilience. It shows how deep this idea of intentional abstention goes way before modern science got involved.
You're absolutely right. Take Christianity, for instance.
Yeah.
Lent, that 40-day period before Easter, is huge. It's rooted in biblical stories of Moses, Elijah, Jesus fasting for 40 days. Traditionally, you had the black fast, no food or liquids until evening. Different denominations have specific rules, frequency, duration, what foods are restricted. Some Orthodox Christians fast Wednesdays and Fridays. Many observe a Eucharistic fast before communion, too.
And in Islam, of course, Ramadan is the most well-known. From dawn until sunset, absolutely no food, drink, drugs, or sexual activity. It's a profound act, purifying body and soul. And there are optional fasts, too, like Fast of Dawood, alternating days.
Then in Judaism, Yom Kippur is the holiest day, involving a complete fast, no food or drink from sunset to the following dusk. It's a powerful act of repentance. There are other fasts, too, like Tisha B'Av, and minor ones usually observed from sunrise to dusk.
What about Hinduism?
In Hinduism, it's often optional, very personalized. Depends on individual belief, maybe the deity they follow. You might see fasts on specific days like Ekadasi or weekly fasts for certain gods. And the methods vary, could be total abstinence, could just be limiting meals or specific foods. Buddhism has an interesting angle. Monks and nuns typically don't eat after the noon meal, but it's not really seen as self-punishment. It's more about discipline to aid meditation and health, embodying that middle path, avoiding extremes.
The Baha'i faith has its 19-day fast in March, sunrise to sunset, no food, drink, or smoking, a core spiritual practice. And in Jainism, fasting requires a vow, and they have various types, including the intense practice of salakana.
And if you look way back to the pre-Columbian Americas, there are historical accounts of fasting from food and water, often combined with other abstinences, sometimes for days, sometimes even up to a year. These were usually tied to really significant rituals or ceremonies.
Now, here's a really interesting counterpoint to all that. Sikhism. They have a unique perspective, don't they? They actively discourage physical fasting as a spiritual tool.
They absolutely do. Sikh teachings really emphasize moderation, temperance in everything. They believe physical fasting itself brings no spiritual benefit.
Interesting.
For Sikhs, true spiritual fasting is more about cultivating compassion, goodwill, overcoming internal desires like ego or anger, not about external deprivation. It's a powerful reminder that the act might be widespread, but the meaning can be profoundly different.
So with all that rich history, let's pivot back to the science.
Yeah.
What's actually happening inside your body when you choose to fast? What's the fundamental metabolic shift?
Right. This is the core of it. When we fast, our bodies go through this really smart natural adaptation. It's called the metabolic switch. Basically, you switch from primarily using glucose, that's the sugar from carbs, your quick fuel, to relying on fatty acids and something called ketone bodies as your main energy source.
Okay, so normally we're burning sugar, but when you fast, your blood sugar drops. Then insulin levels drop and IGF-1 levels too. IGF-1, that's insulin-like growth factor 1, right? Involved in growth and aging.
Exactly. Lower levels are often linked to longevity pathways. It's like your body shifts from constant growth mode into more of a repair and maintenance mode. So as your stored sugar, your glycogen runs out, your body starts breaking down fat. That's lipolysis. And that process makes these ketone bodies, that's ketogenesis.
It's like switching fuel types. from fast-burning wood to a slower, more efficient coal burn, maybe.
That's a great analogy. And the switch, the G to K, glucose to ketone switch, it's incredibly powerful. Ketones aren't just alternative fuel, they're super efficient. They fuel lots of cells, tissues, support hormone balance, metabolic health, even brain function. That's why many people report feeling mentally sharper, more focused once they are up to fasting.
Another really fascinating process that fasting kicks off is autophagy. The name sounds a bit weird, self-eating,
Yeah.
but it's actually a good thing, right? Like your body's internal recycling program.
Exactly. Think of it as cellular housekeeping. Your cells have this natural process to break down and recycle old, damaged, or potentially harmful bits and pieces, cellular debris, tidying up from the inside out.
And why is that so important?
Oh, the significance is huge. It's like having a dedicated cleanup crew for your cells. It helps get rid of toxic stuff, can make your cells live longer, and it's linked to a lower risk of really serious things like cancer, metabolic problems, and age-related diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. It's fundamental for cellular rejuvenation.
Wow, okay. And beyond that, fasting also affects hormones and cellular stress resistance.
Yeah.
Influencing things like insulin and leptin, and maybe even our stress response.
Yes, absolutely. It influences key hormones, and it can impact the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, that's your main stress response system, which can affect mood. Fasting also seems to induce what's called differential cellular stress resistance, meaning it makes your healthy cells tougher, more resilient against various stressors. At the same time, it triggers the production of detoxification enzymes, so an internal detox boost. And even more exciting, there's this idea of stem cell activation and regeneration, especially during the refeeding period when you start eating again and switch back from ketones to glucose.
Refeeding, okay.
This KDG switch might potentially ramp up mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning your cells create more of those tiny energy factories, mitochondria. It's like hitting a biological refresh button.
This all sounds genuinely amazing, these internal processes, potential benefits,
Yeah.
but it immediately brings up a really, really important question. Who should fast? And maybe more importantly, who absolutely shouldn't? This is where we need to be super careful.
This is without doubt the most crucial piece of advice we can give you. Always, always, always talk to a healthcare professional before you even think about starting a fast, especially if it's going to be longer than 24 hours, if it's water only, or if you have any existing health issues or take any medications. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a vital safety net. Seriously.
We really can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Because there are very clear contraindication situations where fasting, especially without supervision, is just not a good idea.
Yeah.
The risks are too high, like people with type 1 diabetes. Huge risk of hypoglycemia, dangerously low blood sugar. That can be life-threatening.
Definitely. Or if you have chronic kidney disease, CKD. Fasting could potentially make kidney function worse. Not something to gamble with.
And people with heart conditions or vascular issues, also higher risk, right? Irregular heartbeats, chest pain, that dizziness when you stand up, orthostatic hypotension.
Exactly. Also, if you suffer from gout, fasting can trigger attacks because it can temporarily raise uric acid levels. Other no-go areas without strict medical advice include uncontrolled migraines, advanced liver or cerebrovascular problems, or severe cognitive issues like dementia where self-care might be compromised.
And beyond specific conditions, there are certain groups, vulnerable populations, who generally shouldn't fast, like pregnant or breastfeeding women. They just need more nutrients and calories, period.
Right. Fasting is also not recommended for children and adolescents under 18. Their bodies are still growing and developing.
What about older adults?
Older adults, say over 65 or maybe 75, also face higher risks. They often have other health conditions, and their bodies might not adapt to the stress of fasting as easily, what we call decreased physiological reserve. And critically, anyone who is underweight or has cachexia, that's severe muscle wasting, they're already malnourished. Fasting poses a significant danger to them.
And this is a really important one. Individuals with a history of eating disorders, like anorexia nervosa. Fasting can be a massive trigger, potentially worsening those patterns. It's just not safe.
Absolutely not. Also, if you're taking any prescription medication seriously, anything, you must talk to your doctor first. Dosages might need adjusting, or you might need special monitoring. Think about blood thinners, blood sugar meds. It's crucial.
Okay. And one more group, people with really high physical demands.
Yes. People doing intense workouts daily, endurance athletes, they should generally avoid water-only fasting. The risk of major electrolyte imbalances and severe dehydration is much higher for them. It's just too risky without very careful medical oversight.
Now, let's zoom in on a specific and potentially really dangerous issue related to breaking a fast. Refeeding syndrome. This isn't just getting a tummy ache, is it? It sounds serious.
It is extremely serious. It's a potentially life-threatening shift in fluids and electrolytes that can happen in malnourished people when they start getting nutrition again too quickly. It mainly involves phosphate levels crashing, but can also cause dangerous shifts in sodium, fluid balance, potassium, magnesium, and shortages of key vitamins like thiamine.
Wow. So how do we prevent that? Who is most at risk?
Preventing it is all about identifying those at-risk patients before refeeding starts. We're talking about people who are already nutritionally vulnerable. Maybe they have a very low BMI, have lost a lot of weight unintentionally recently, haven't eaten much or anything for over 10 days, or already have low levels of key minerals like potassium, phosphate, or magnesium.
Okay.
Also considered high risk are people with a history of alcohol misuse or those on certain drugs like insulin or chemotherapy. Basically, anyone whose nutritional status is already compromised.
And it's good to understand why someone might be malnourished, right?
Uh-huh.
It could be reduced intake, maybe trouble swallowing, depression, alcoholism, or reduced absorption, like with inflammatory bowel disease.
Right.
Or even the body just needing way more energy due to severe illness, like cancer or major surgery.
Exactly. The bottom line is, if someone is malnourished, reintroducing food has to be done incredibly carefully, usually under medical supervision.
Okay, so with all those really important warnings and safety nets in mind, why might a healthy person, maybe one of our well-informed listeners, decide to explore fasting? What's the draw?
For many healthy folks, it's really about proactive health optimization. It's about learning more about how their body works, exploring ways to potentially prevent disease down the line, improve overall health, boost well-being.
Tapping into those natural processes we talked about, like the metabolic switch, autophagy.
Precisely. Leveraging those innate systems to potentially reach a higher state of health and vitality. It's about understanding and maybe even enhancing the body's amazing built-in capabilities.
All right, so you've heard the warnings, you understand the risks. If you're healthy, you've talked to your doctor, and you decide fasting might be for you. What are the practical steps for doing it effectively and safely? Let's start right at the beginning. Preparation.
Okay, first step, and we'll keep saying it because it's that important, medical consultation, especially for fasts over 24 hours. Or if you have any health concerns or take meds, non-negotiable, think of it as your safety check. A good nutritional assessment beforehand is also really smart. Know your starting point.
And what about diet before the fast?
Good point. Preparing your body helps. Eating healthy, nutrient-dense meals beforehand is wise. If you're thinking about water fasting, some suggest trying a low-carb, high-healthy fat diet, sometimes called healthy keto, for a few days prior. It might help your body get better at burning fat, potentially making the transition smoother. And definitely avoid processed junk food before you start.
And for someone new to this, probably best not to jump into a 5-day water fast right away.
Absolutely not. Take a gradual approach. Start short. Maybe just a 12-hour overnight fast or a 168 intermittent fast. See how your body feels. Then, slowly, you could increase the duration if it feels right and you're cleared to do so. You could even try reducing your meal sizes a bit for a few days beforehand just to ease your system into it.
And timing matters too, right? Don't try it during a super stressful week.
Definitely. Choose a time when you can rest more, when you don't have intense physical or mental demands. And obviously, don't start a fast if you're already feeling sick or really run down. Listen to your body.
Okay, so you're prepared, you've started. What about during the fast? Hydration seems obvious, but are there specifics?
Hydration is critical, yes. Aim for about 2-3 liters of water a day. But here's a key detail. Mineralized water is often better than just pure tap water. Why? Because, counterintuitively, drinking too much clean water without electrolytes can actually dilute your sodium levels and lead to a dangerous condition called hyponatremia.
Oh, wow. So electrolytes are key, especially for water-only fasts.
Incredibly important for water-only fasts. The risk of imbalances, low sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and depleting your reserves is significant. So practical advice. Consider maybe 1 to 2 teaspoons of high-quality Himalayan pink salt mixed in water daily. Or use a good quality sugar-free electrolyte powder. Make sure it has potassium, magnesium, chloride, sodium, calcium.
And these electrolytes, they don't break the fast.
No, they don't break the fast in terms of metabolic benefits. They don't provide calories. They just provide essential minerals to support your body and reduce the risks. It's a crucial safety measure.
What about physical activity during the fast? Hit the gym hard.
Probably not the best idea. Keep it light. Think gentle walks, maybe some light stretching. Remember, the Buchner method included light to moderate outdoor walks and gentle gymnastics? The goal is gentle movement for circulation and well-being, not intense exercise that could deplete you further.
Makes sense. And throughout the fast, monitoring yourself is vital. Paying attention to your body's signals.
Absolutely. Become a keen observer. Maybe keep a simple log rate your physical and emotional well-being on a 0-10 scale each day. Track any symptoms, even mild ones like a headache or feeling tired, sometimes called the keto flu. This self-awareness lets you know if things are progressing normally or if you need to adjust or stop.
Okay, now for arguably the most critical, practical part.
Yeah.
Breaking the fast safely. The refeeding protocol, you mentioned refeeding syndrome earlier. This is where we prevent that, right?
Exactly. This is incredibly important. The number one rule is gradual reintroduction of food. Think slow and gentle. Your digestive system has been resting. You need to ease it back into action.
So what should you eat first? A big steak?
Definitely not. Start really light, easy to digest things. Think clear soups, maybe a good quality bone broth, small portions. The goal is to gently coax your system awake without overwhelming it.
And what should you absolutely avoid right after a fast?
Stay away from processed foods, anything really rich, heavy, or greasy. Your system just isn't ready for it. Eating too much too soon, especially heavy stuff, can lead to nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, just general digestive chaos.
What about general diet advice after the fast is broken and you're eating normally again?
The Mediterranean diet is often recommended. It's balanced, nutrient-dense, lots of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, lean protein like fish. It's a good, sustainable way to eat healthily post-fast.
And for preventing that severe refeeding syndrome, especially in those identified as high risk, the medical guidelines sound really specific and cautious.
They have to be. Nutritional support starts incredibly slowly. For someone who hasn't eaten much for over 5 days, they might start at only 50% of their estimated energy needs, or even less. For severely malnourished individuals, it's even slower, maybe just a tiny fraction initially, often with continuous heart monitoring because the risk of cardiac problems is real.
It's not just about calories, but electrolytes and fluids too, right, during refeeding.
Critical. Any imbalances in phosphate, potassium, magnesium need to be corrected as feeding starts, often with supplements, oral or IV, unless blood levels are already high.
Constant monitoring needed.
Yes. Daily electrolyte checks for the first week, then several times in the second week. Fluid intake needs careful management, too, to avoid fluid overload, which can strain the heart. Sodium is usually just replaced if needed, not given in excess. High-risk patients might even need central venous pressure and heart rhythm monitoring.
And vitamins, especially thiamine.
Crucial. Vitamin supplementation, especially thiamine B1, should start before or right as refeeding begins and continue for about 10 days. This prevents severe neurological issues like Wernicke's encephalopathy. Restoring circulatory volume is also key. It's a very careful, medically supervised process for those at risk.
Okay, let's tackle a big worry many people have. Does fasting automatically cause muscle loss? Especially if you're into fitness or just want to maintain lean mass.
That's a really common and valid concern, and the science is pretty cool here. During longer fasts, your body actually has clever ways to try and prevent excessive muscle breakdown.
How does it do that?
Mostly thanks to that metabolic switch again. When your body starts burning fat and ketones efficiently, it spares protein. It prefers to use the abundant fat stores first. The liver also helps by slowing down gluconeogenesis, making new sugar from things like protein, which further protects muscle.
So the body is smart. It uses fat first, saves the muscle. That's amazing. But people do sometimes report losing muscle, so what influences that? When does muscle loss happen?
Right, the protection isn't absolute. Severe or poorly managed fasting can lead to losing lean mass. This might happen if the fast is way too long without proper support, if someone is already low on body fat, or if they don't get enough protein during their eating windows or refeeding period.
So it's not inevitable, but it's a risk if not done right.
Exactly. But look at that Buchner study again. They saw significant weight loss and reduced abdominal fat, with previous studies suggesting no rebound weight gain. That points towards healthy fat loss, not primarily muscle loss, in that kind of structured, supported fast, which also includes light activity.
And you mentioned something about blood cells regenerating after refeeding in animal models, hints at the body's overall regenerative capacity.
Yeah, decreases in certain blood cells during the fast, but within normal limits, then regeneration upon refeeding. It suggests the body activates repair and rebuilding processes after the fasting period.
So what are the strategies for fasting while trying to maintain or maybe even gain muscle?
Okay, so the key is smart integration. Our sources don't give specific workout plans, but the principles are clear. Nutrition is paramount. You absolutely need adequate protein intake during your eating windows or when you refeed. The Buchinger refeeding involved gradually reintroducing an ovo-lacto-vegetarian diet that provides protein.
And what about training?
Resistance training is generally considered crucial for preserving muscle during any period of calorie deficit, including fasting windows. While the Buchinger program only included light activity, if muscle maintenance or gain is a primary goal, combining your fasting schedule with regular resistance training during your eating periods would be the logical approach, based on general exercise science. Smart planning around nutrition and training makes a huge difference. Fasting doesn't have to mean muscle loss.
Okay, we've covered mechanisms, safety, muscle. Now let's talk about optimizing and personalizing. We've mentioned different fasting types. Let's compare them a bit more directly. Risks and suitability.
Right. Let's look at water-only fasting again. As we said, perceived as pure, but the risks are high if unsupervised. Electrolyte chaos, hyponatremia, hypokalemia, hypomagnesemia, nutrient depletion, dehydration, dizziness. It can worsen some conditions.
So who is it suitable for, realistically?
Realistically, only very healthy people, ideally under close medical supervision, and probably only for short stints like 24 hours. It's really not something to dabble with casually.
Okay, then in contrast, periodic fasting like Buchinger. What's the picture there?
Much different. That big study showed impressive safety and tolerability over 21 days. Significant benefits. Weight loss, mostly fat. Smaller waist circumference, better blood pressure, better lipids, better blood sugar control, glucose, and HbA1c.
And the well-being aspect.
Huge improvement reported in both emotional and physical well-being. And remember, 93% reported no hunger. That's massive for compliance and experience. Adverse effects were rare, less than 1%, and usually minor.
So suitability.
Much broader, especially when done under supervision in a clinic setting. Good for preventive health. Therapeutic goals like reducing cardiovascular risk, weight loss, maybe managing inflammatory issues, or even tackling feelings of distress or burnout.
And intermittent fasting.
Okay.
With shorter windows.
IF, like 168 or similar, often feels more sustainable for daily life. Studies, like those on Ramadan fasting, link it to better cardiometabolic markers. It can boost antioxidants, reduce inflammation signals. Because you still eat regularly, it might be safer and more practical for many people compared to prolonged fasts, allowing consistent nutrient intake.
So with these options, how does someone choose the right method for them? It feels very personal.
It absolutely is. First, think about your goals. What do you want to achieve? Weight loss, better metabolic health, spiritual reasons, general well-being. Your goal directs your choice.
Then lifestyle. Be realistic.
Totally. How easily can this fit into your daily routine, your job, your family life? Some methods demand more disruption than others, and number one, always, is your health status. Talk to your doctor. Align the choice with professional medical advice, especially with any pre-existing conditions. Don't self-diagnose or self-prescribe a fasting regimen.
And the advice to start small seems key for finding what works.
Definitely. Don't dive into the deep end. Start with shorter, easier fasts. See how your body responds. Learn its signals. You can always gradually increase intensity or duration later, if appropriate. Maybe just start by pushing breakfast back an hour or two. See how that feels.
Okay, and how do you know when to increase or decrease intensity once you've started?
It comes back to careful self-observation. Pay close attention to everything physical, mental, emotional changes. If you experience any of those serious warning signs we're about to cover, you must back off or stop immediately. No exceptions.
And any big changes, especially longer fasts, should involve a doctor.
Always. Any significant change in duration or intensity, especially if you're going for longer periods, really needs professional guidance. Listen to your body. Be safe. Get expert advice.
Okay, let's shift to the positive outcomes.
Yeah.
The expected benefits and what you can actually track to see if it's working for you. What does the evidence show?
For weight management, that periodic fasting study was clear. Significant weight loss, 3 to 8 kilogram range, and reduced waist size, 4 to 8 centimeter range, targeting that unhealthy visceral fat. And importantly, other studies suggest this isn't typically followed by rebound weight gain if you maintain healthy habits.
What about cardiovascular health?
Strong benefits seen there, too. Significant drops in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, generally staying within safe limits. This seems linked to better nervous system balance and kidney function. Also, significant improvements in lipids, lower triglycerides, total cholesterol, and LDL, bad cholesterol. Overall, very heart protective.
And blood sugar regulation. Big topic these days.
Yes, and fasting shows real promise here. Significant decreases in blood glucose levels, often stabilizing nicely. Plus, a drop in HbA1c, that marker for long-term blood sugar control. This points to improved insulin sensitivity, which is fantastic for managing diabetes risk or even potentially reversing insulin resistance.
What about the effects on mood and mind? The well-being and mental clarity aspect?
This is often one of the most compelling benefits people report. Studies show consistent, significant boosts in both emotional and physical well-being. People often feel sharper, clearer mentally. This could be the ketone effect, maybe increased BDNF brain fertilizer, or changes in the stress response system.
And that lack of hunger in the Bookinger study. That's huge for well-being, too.
Absolutely. Not feeling hungry makes the whole experience vastly different, much more positive. Plus, there's a real psychological boost, a feeling of self-efficacy from successfully completing a challenging fast.
The micro level, cellular health and longevity. Autophagy is key there.
Autophagy is central, yes. That internal cleanup crew removing damaged parts. There's also potential seen in animal models for stem cell activation and regeneration during refeeding. This could lead to better brain plasticity, more flexible connections, and making neurons more resilient to stress.
And inflammation reduction.
Fasting shows clinical benefits for inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. It seems to boost antioxidants and lower those pro-inflammatory signals in the body. Reducing abdominal fat also directly lowers overall inflammation.
What about kidney and liver function? Any concerns there?
Generally, the changes observed are temporary adaptations. Some liver enzymes might slightly increase due to metabolic shifts, but others associated with inflammation, like GGT, often decrease. Uric acid might temporarily rise, but usually resolves, and it has antioxidant roles. Kidney markers like urea might decrease, creatinine might slightly increase, but typically stay within normal ranges. The organs seem to adapt well in healthy individuals during supervised fasts.
So realistic timelines. How quickly might someone see benefits?
Many of these positive changes, weight, blood pressure, lipids, glucose, well-being, can actually be seen relatively quickly within that 4 to 21-day window shown in the observational study. You don't necessarily need months of fasting to start seeing measurable improvements.
To make this really practical for someone trying it, what should they track?
Okay, track physical signs. Weight, waist measurement, blood pressure if you can, pulse. Track mental, emotional aspects. Use that 0-10 scale for well-being. Note mood changes, energy levels, brain fog. And definitely track symptoms.
Yeah.
Any mild ones like headaches, but crucially, be alert for the serious warning signs.
And if you're working with a doctor, they might track biochemical markers.
Exactly. Blood glucose, HbA1c, full lipid panel, electrolytes, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, kidney and liver function tests, maybe even inflammatory markers. That gives the most detailed picture of what's happening physiologically.
Okay, this leads us to possibly the most critical section. Warning signs to stop fasting immediately and when to seek medical advice. Safety first, always.
Absolutely paramount. There are definite red flags that mean stop the fast right now. First, severe lethargy and mental fatigue. Not just feeling a bit tired. This is extreme exhaustion, persistent brain fog you can't shake, or really significant mood swings. It could signal serious nutrient deficiencies, B, vitamin C, iron, magnesium.
Okay, what else?
Lightheadedness and dizzy spells, especially that orthostatic hypotension when you stand up. If it comes with weakness, feeling faint, bad headaches, fever, or sudden blood pressure swings, stop. It signals serious electrolyte issues, sodium, potassium, and dehydration.
Gastrointestinal issues.
Yes. Persistent, severe stomach pain, lower abdominal pain, ongoing nausea, vomiting, or bad diarrhea. That's not normal detox. It could be serious digestive upset or electrolyte problems. Stop the fast.
What about throat pain? You mentioned that earlier.
Yes, persistent pain specifically in the front of the throat could indicate issues with selenium or iodine, potentially affecting your thyroid. Stop fasting and see a doctor immediately if this happens.
And insomnia, if you just can't sleep.
Severe, persistent insomnia disrupting your whole cycle can be a sign of low potassium or magnesium, which are crucial for relaxation and nerve function. Another reason to stop and reassess, and this one is critical: irregular heartbeat or chest pain. Any palpitations, fluttering, skipped beats, or chest discomfort, stop immediately and seek emergency medical help. This could be a life-threatening electrolyte imbalance affecting your heart. No hesitation.
Finally, worsening of pre-existing conditions. Like if your gout flares up badly, or if fasting triggers disordered eating thoughts or behaviors, stop Listen to your body's clear signals.
And just to reiterate, some general risks mainly tied to unsupervised water fasting, dehydration, even while drinking water if electrolytes aren't replaced, hyponatremia, low sodium from too much plain water, potential muscle loss if not managed well, and possible depletion of bone calcium and other minerals. These highlight why caution and often supervision are needed, especially for stricter fasts.
So beyond those immediate stop signs, when else should someone definitely seek medical advice?
If you feel disoriented or confused at any point, if any health concerns pop up during or even after the fast. As we've said multiple times, if you're planning any fast longer than 24 hours, talk to a doctor first. If you take any prescription meds, essential to discuss with your doctor. And if you suspect you might have underlying nutrient deficiencies, get checked out. And obviously, if you fall into any of those contraindicated groups we discussed earlier, pregnant, nursing, certain medical conditions, history of eating disorders, medical guidance is absolutely essential before even considering it. Safety has to be the priority.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we really hope we give you a solid, evidence-based picture of fasting. The goal was to cut through the hype and confusion, give you practical, usable knowledge.
Yeah, we've seen fasting has real potential metabolic benefits, cellular cleanup, improved well-being, but it's not magic. It needs real thought, careful preparation, and often that crucial medical guidance. We want to empower you, our listener, to make informed choices that fit you, not just follow the latest trend.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, something to chew on perhaps. Our bodies have these incredibly complex, ancient systems built for adaptation, for regeneration, even for thriving during times of scarcity. What does that tell us about our modern world, often characterized by constant abundance, constant feeding? Could it be that a mindful, informed, strategic engagement with periods of scarcity might actually unlock more potential within us than we realize? Something powerful to consider.